Hello, my name is Corina Machado, and I'm talking to you from Caracas, Venezuela. I am honored to have the chance to share these remarks with you about what's going on in my country right now and how we are going to overcome this tragedy Venezuelans are living right now. I want to thank the Acton Institute, Father Robert Sirico, and Alejandro Chafuen for this unique opportunity to talk to you during the Acton University 2018. I'm not able to be physically with you because for over 4 years I've been banned from leaving my country. I've been accused of treason, conspiracy, rebellion, and even my kids have been threatened. But I'm here. I'm fighting with the Venezuelan people, witnessing and sharing our determination to overcome this drama and build together a prosperous, free, and democratic nation. And if something we have learned for this struggle of almost 2 decades is the importance of values and ideas. Because in the name of the poor, in the name of social justice, in the name of peace, a crime against humanity has been committed in Venezuela. It's important to understand the true nature of the regime we're fighting. It is an evil, dangerous blend of populism, communism, and organized crime. Hugo Chavez first, and now Nicolás Maduro, have counted with all the money they could think of. When Chavez arrived to power, the price of oil was around $7 a barrel. It reached over $150. They had all the money they needed to not only distribute, but to gain support through temptations, through threats. They were able to buy complicity and brought many sectors, institutions, and individuals to total silence. But finally, what they also counted on was with the inaction and indifference of the international community. Nevertheless, we, the Venezuelan people, understood that our strength, what brought us together, were values that were the primacy of our struggle and of our fight. And I'm referring to liberty, individual dignity, and solidarity. Those values have guided our struggle. We understood that we have to talk with the truth, no matter how risky it was, and that only getting together and maintaining these values as our guidelines, we would finally prevail. Important lessons have we learned during these years. First, socialism doesn't work, not here, not elsewhere. Second, a communist regime will not leave power unless it is forced to. And third, given the international forces that are installed in Venezuela, obscure international crime, we required the strength, support of international democratic community alongside the Venezuelan people. This is certainly not an electoral fight. It is an existential one. It is a spiritual one that requires all the commitment, determination, and trust in ourselves and among each other in order to prevail. And because it is a spiritual fight, we, the Venezuelans, know that we will succeed. Many have wrongly believed abroad and even within Venezuela, that we, the Venezuelan people, have preferences for socialism and state intervention. That is absolutely false. Yes, for decades we've seen a state that has been growing and taking over not only the economy, but even individual private decisions. And certainly under Hugo Chavez and Nicolás Maduro, a totalitarian system has evolved. But if Venezuelans have something clear at this point, is that only a system with absolute respect to private property, with respect to the rule of law, and with a vibrant and open market society, we can overcome poverty and create a society in which the individual and family is at its center, and we will have an effective and efficient state at its service. What we've seen in terms of the destruction of Venezuelan institutions and economy in the last 2 decades has not been, let's say, spontaneous. It has been calculated. It was intentional. This regime knew that in order to have a society totally dependent, in order to have this regime endlessly in power, they have to destroy what creates wealth and autonomy in a society. And that's precisely what they did. They started with institutions, the judicial system, the electoral system, and they move ahead to the media, private companies, financial sector, and even they went beyond unions, the universities, the academy, the church. That's what they wanted, to have total control of the individual. Yes, today Venezuela has been for over 3 years in the last place in terms of economic freedom by the indexes published by the Acton Institute. Yes, to open a company in Venezuela, you need over 6 months. And certainly there is no respect whatsoever for property. I have been denouncing for years the destruction the regime has made with expropriation and confiscations of over 500,000 productive acres in our country that have been taken over by the regime and are totally desolated right now. But precisely those results have brought the final understanding that not only these last 20 years of public intervention, but the decades before, in which even though we had democracy but not a free market, required a profound transformation in our institutions and the incentives they create. Venezuelans today, and especially the young people, desire and fight for a society of innovation, of entrepreneurship, of private property and great ideas, and certainly of open markets. And that's exactly what we're going to build the minute Nicolás Maduro and his mafias leave power. The seduction of big government and the harm it brings to that society is something that we Venezuelans know very well. Being a rich country in terms of natural resources and oil has brought the permanent temptation for those that reach power to stay in it. And the way to achieve that is to take over that potential wealth, and in the name of the poor and in the name of whole society, make use of it. Nothing has been more harmful for our society that to hear since we were very young that Venezuela was a rich country because it had oil. Certainly that was not true. It wasn't even a rich state. There were rich politicians that decided to stay in power in order to make use of that wealth and distribute it in their own will in order to gain favors and stay in power. Paradoxically, the destruction of the Venezuelan oil sector, as well as our financial and gold reserves, have brought the absolute and only route ahead in which we will have to bring an absolute transformation in terms of the relationship of the state and citizens, and certainly oil and citizens. And the answer, the only answer, is to open markets. We certainly don't need a state that produces from bicycles to satellites. We do not share what we used to hear about strategic enterprises regarding iron ore or aluminum or even oil. What's strategic for a Venezuelan housewife is that if you open and look for water in your house, you will get clean water 24 hours a day. Or that if you require a courthouse to settle a dispute, you will find effective justice and fair justice. And that our kids could have public or private quality, first world quality education and health. And that's strategic. And on that, and for that, we require and a society that opens and promotes that individual talent can be developed, that every single Venezuelan could have equal opportunities to move ahead, that we will incentivize education, innovation, preparation, effective and productive work, and that we will not only stimulate but praise those that dare to risk and innovate and create jobs and invest in their country. That's a society in which not only poverty will be left back, but in which we will see not only innovation and productivity, but also solidarity and justice bringing on all together. All of this brings me back to the beginning. What's at stake at this moment in Venezuela? And what's at stake? It's the individual in its essence, in its values, in its individual dignity. When you see a small child in Venezuela searching for food in the trash, or when you stand in the middle of thousands of young Venezuelan men and women that run across the border. As I have been living in these last weeks, you realize that this regime wanted to break us, not only physically and economically, but morally. And this is something that the Catholic and Christian churches in Venezuela have understood since the beginning. It's hard to think of another institution that has been so coherent, so firm, so clear, so courageous during all these 20 years, making the Venezuelan society know that we are not alone. We're not alone because we have each other, but because there are Christians around the world that share our values, that are praying for us, and that they are acting for us. That is why Venezuelan priests and bishops have been not only accused, insulted, but persecuted. Nevertheless, they have stand together firm, and certainly sending us a strong spiritual message that we need to move ahead. In moments in which I've felt lonely, threatened, persecuted, I've known that we have our church, our priests, not only here but around the world, standing beside us. That is why we're moving ahead in the final stage of this struggle. Certainly, the most obscure and dangerous days are in front of us. These are the moments in which we need to know that around the world there are citizens that understand not only what a catastrophe to humanity is taking place in Venezuela, but that how it affects the rest of the world. We are facing a criminal tyranny that intentionally has brought evil and pain to the Venezuelan people. They thought they would break us down and isolate us. But the country has taken place. Venezuelan people are today more united than ever, determined to do what it takes to build back our country. And we are today conscious that we have all of you on our side, that we will overcome this tragedy, and that we will have learned what it needs to convey to the new generations in order for this to be the last tyranny ever to put its step in our nation. And we will achieve that. Thank you very much.